What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports that help give you the edge for this NBA 6-game slate. Cannot wait to break it down. This video is officially sponsored by Jock Market. If you guys want to be entered into the $25 giveaway that we do every single Friday, please like, subscribe, and also comment your favorite GPP play for this slate. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future NBA content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.patreon.com/dgfantasy for more information. On Patreon, we give advanced cheat sheets for all DFS sports on Draftkings. These cheat sheets include updated projections, ownership, and our overall favorite plays from slate to slate. We take it a step further by teaching you how to play fantasy sports like a shark, by showing you where the best leverage spots are to put you in the best spots to take down tourneys. Also included is our private Discord chat where you get to talk over the slate with everyone, including our coaches, to help build your lineups. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this NBA 6-game slate and take a look at the injury report across the board here. In the very first game, we have Denver versus Boston. Denver has quite a bit of injury news. We have Barton, Dozier, Harris, Millsap, and Whittington all out for these guys. With Boston, we have Langford, Smart out currently for them. With Toronto, we have Anunoby, Harris, and McCall out. With Milwaukee, we still have Drew Holiday out. With the Lakers, Anthony Davis is out for them, so that definitely impacts the picture there. And LA, with Minnesota, we still have Culver and Russell out. With Portland, we have Collins, Giles, Hood, McCollum, and Nurkic all out, so that definitely impacts the Portland picture. And then with OKC, we have Ariza, SGA, Hill, and Melden out. With New Orleans, we don't have anything. With Memphis, we just have the same injuries. It's actually not as many as we're used to seeing. With Brooklyn, we still have Kevin Durant and Claxton out. And then with Phoenix, we have nothing to observe there. So let's go ahead and switch over to the slate and go game by game and talk about how the usage rates are impacted by these injuries. With the Nuggets, we have everybody pretty much out, a lot of role players out. So if we take a look there, Jokic does get a slight usage boost. He averages 27.5% usage and a 1.61 fantasy points per minute. Also, Jamal Murray does get a significant boost here in usage. When you look at it, he gets a 2.9% usage boost and a 0.29 fantasy point per minute boost. So that translates to 26.4% usage and a 1.26 fantasy point per minute. So when we look at that in terms of the cheat sheet here, we have Michael Porter Jr. here at the top, a 5.6 point per dollar value. In terms of ownership, he does have the highest at a 5.8K price tag. So definitely a cash viable option here for Denver. With Jokic, he's a 22.8% ownership right now and a 5.6 point per dollar value. But I really do like Jamal Murray all the way down here at 4.9%. We talked about his usage boost and a 6.3 point per dollar value at a 7.2K price tag. People are going to be scared off that price tag. Well, I'm not. When you're averaging 1.26 fantasy points per minute in 36 minutes, definitely a very good GPP option. And I do like this with no Marcus Smart here to guard him. So yes, this is the lowest over under, but it is expected to be competitive. And I like all these options in terms of cash and some GPP options. So switching over to Boston, looks like this is going to draw some more chalk here. Kemba Walker at the top, 22.2% ownership right now, a 5.1 point per dollar value with these guys off the court. The only hesitancy I have right now is his projected minutes. He's only projected to play 29 minutes, so I would hesitate here. He is cash viable, but definitely it does have limited upside. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are definitely good GPP options because they both do benefit with the current injuries off the court. I am a fan more so of Jason Tatum. He does benefit a little bit more. If we take a look at the chart, he does average 1.32 fantasy points per minute as opposed to Jaylen Brown's 1.2 fantasy points per minute with these current injuries off the court. So definitely like him at his 8.7K price tag. I think it's a little undervalued. This game is expected to be competitive, and I can get behind these guys in GPPs. Switching down to New Orleans, we don't have anything really to look at. These guys are usually always GPP options, and yes, the ownership does reflect just that. Brandon Ingram, 10.3% ownership. Zion Williamson, 6.1% ownership. And Steven Adams, 4.9% ownership. These guys are in a pace-up matchup, and they are projected to score 120 or 230 points rather overall. as this game total does increase. A 5.4 point per dollar value here on Zion Williamson, and same thing with Steven Adams. He is showing pretty well on our sheet. Eric Bledsoe at a 5.2K price tag. Definitely like him. Projected this to play 30 minutes. I do like him. Like I said, 6.3 point per dollar value is very, very underpriced for GPP. Looking over at Memphis, nothing really going on here. All the price tags are very aggressive with these injuries coming back. Just GPP options for me. Really, the only guy I have any interest in, it's going to be Dylan Brooks, 12.9% ownership and a 5 point per dollar value. John Morant, also 7.5K, averaging 1.32 fantasy points per minute on the season. 32 minutes. He just doesn't have the ceiling potential that we're used to seeing with him coming back. Still has a minute restriction, so don't like him in terms of upside. Going down the list here, we have Toronto versus Milwaukee. When you take the Toronto guys off the court, not really too much impacted here. My favorite option on this team, rather, is going to be Kyle Lowry, 7.4K price tag and a 14.2% ownership. He averages 1.11 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the court, similar to that of Siakam and also Van Vliet. These three guys are literally averaging very close to the exact same fantasy points per minute. So you guys know I'm going to be favoriting the cheapest of these options. A 7.4K price tag on Kyle Lowry makes him the easiest to get to, which makes Siakam and Van Vliet also just GPP options. Right now, this is expected to be relatively close. A 235 over under, which is actually the highest on the slate. I do like this game in terms of attacking for GPPs, but definitely not any cash options here from the Toronto side. Looking over at Milwaukee, these guys are without Drew Holiday, and that does give a significant boost to Giannis and the gang. If we take a look at his fantasy points per minute, averages an outstanding 1.72 fantasy points per minute with Drew Holiday off the court and a 32.3% usage. So this guy is definitely going to be cash viable. 26.9% ownership, which is actually higher than I thought it would be. Chris Middleton does benefit as well, but only averaging 1.28 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the court and a 5.6 point per dollar value. So I do like these guys in terms of cash. I think they're cash fillers. Another guy that I have my eyes on is going to be Brook Lopez at a 4.7K price tag and a 6.1 point per dollar value. He averages 0.99 fantasy points per minute, which is definitely good for a 4.7K price tag. And also Bryn Forbes at a 3.8K price tag, playing 30 minutes. I don't mind for a value option as well. And now let's hear a quick word from our sponsor.
Jock Market is one of the most innovative ways to play daily fantasy sports today. Just like the real stock market, Jock Market allows you to buy and sell players to earn profit based on their performances throughout the day and night. They are currently offering a variety of sports where you can enter their markets and buy them for potential gains. Unlike normal other DFS sites, once the slate starts, you can make numerous changes to your stocks by buying new players you think will continue to perform well or sell players you think are going to underperform.
Right now, they are running every sport with overlay, which gives you an easier chance to win than other major DFS platforms. Download Jock Market now on the App Store and use code DGF to receive a $20 deposit bonus. Be sure to subscribe here for all future Jock Market content. Now let's go ahead and switch down to the Lakers, who are without AD. And without AD, we know that LeBron does get a nice little usage boost. Right now, he is only 10.1K, and he has a 30.5% ownership. Right now, he's going to be one of the more chalkier guys on the slate and a pace-up spot here versus Minnesota Timberwolves. A 5.6 point per dollar value is what we have him at now, averaging 1.49 fantasy points per minute on the season without AD, which isn't the best, but like I said, it is a pace-up spot. They're projected to score 115 points on Minnesota, and I think this is a fair price tag. I projected this to play 36 minutes. The rest of these guys are just going to be GPP options for me. THT averaging 0.97 fantasy points per minute on the season without AD, projected only 21 minutes. I do like him next in line, a 5.6 point per dollar value. And then also Marc Gasol averaging 1.01 fantasy points per minute, but is only projected to play 20 minutes in this contest. Switching over to Minnesota, all these guys are just going to be GPP options for me. Right now, Vanderbilt, the best option, a 5.6 point per dollar value, a 4K price tag, and projected to play 22 minutes. Karl Anthony Towns is also still very appealing, 9.3K, and obviously a very good matchup without AD. So I do like him at a 4.4% ownership, but just GPP options for me from this side of the ball for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Switching over to Portland, these guys are still having some injury problems without Giles now, McCollum, Nurkic, Hood, and Collins. So when you take those guys off the court, Damian Lillard does average 1.48 fantasy points per minute on the season, and a pace, it looks to be a pace down to an average spot here. Projected to score 116 points, which is actually relatively low for the Portland Trailblazers. A 24.5% ownership, and I do like him here as a cash/GPP option. I think he's a great filler. 9.7K, definitely underpriced. We have him projected right now at 54.16 points. Enes Kanter, does score 1.23 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the court, a 5.8 point per dollar value, so I don't mind him as well. But all of these guys are just going to be GPP options for me, with the exception of just Kanter and Lillard. Switching over to OKC, just know for these guys, all these guys seem to be very overpriced. They got aggressive price increases with all these current injuries off the court. Right now, they still have relatively the same injuries: SGA, Malden, Ariza, and Hill out, so it really doesn't impact them that much. Justin Jackson is just going to be my favorite option here. Projected in 31 minutes, a 4.7K price tag, does end up being a decent value play for me. Looking last but not least to the Brooklyn Nets, right now, James Harden and Kyrie Irving average the exact same fantasy points per minute with Kevin Durant off the court, which is 1.47. I'm going to be taking the cheaper of the two, which is Kyrie Irving. He did do a very, very well job at scoring last night. Projected to play 5 minutes right now. He only played 31 minutes. This is expected to be relatively close, so I do like Kyrie Irving in this contest, but his ownership is very, very low. I think he is cash viable as well, but just because of the ownership, I think he's going to be a better GPP option than not. James Harden is also showing 7.1% ownership, so also a GPP option. So both these guys do pop well on the sheet. I do prefer Kyrie Irving just because he is cheaper and does average the same fantasy points per minute, but I also do like James Harden in this contest. Every single other person on the team is going to be GPP options. DeAndre Jordan, also not that bad of a price tag, 4.5K, projected to play 27 minutes, does average a good just over a fantasy point per minute, so showing undervalued as well. Last but not least, let's talk about Phoenix. Phoenix is just going to be GPP options for me. Right now, DeAndre Ayton does show the best on our sheet, a 7.1K price tag and a 5.5 point per dollar value. Same thing with Chris Paul, a 7.8K price tag, 6.3% ownership, and a 5.1 point per dollar value. But these guys are not benefiting without any injuries off the court, so just GPP options in a pace-up spot here versus Brooklyn. And that will wrap up my breakdown, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy my breakdown. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.